Hey guys, Dov here, back with another unit highlight. Today we're talking about a very underrated unit, Dragon Ogres. Today I'm playing Romulan Dog, Warriors of Chaos, obviously, against his Beastmen. And let's go ahead and quickly touch on the builds here. I've got a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, Lore of Fire on the Dragon. The Dragon itself, Chaos Dragon, does fire damage, so Lore of Fire synergizes quite well. Line of Marauders, 4 Marauder Horsemen, and we've got a group of 4 hounds hidden in the woods here. Is it 4 or 5? Yeah, 4 hounds. Some with poison, some without. For Romulan Dog's Beastmen, over here he's got some Centaurs with throwing axes hidden. Front line of spears, 1 unit of Ungor Raiders here. Got some Razorgore Chariots, some Pig Herds, 2 Minotaurs with great weapons, which is great, because this is a pretty comparable unit to the Dragon Ogres, so it kind of gives us a direct comparison in battle here. And Poison Warhounds, Malagor, Dark Omen leading the way, so both kind of fun off-meta builds, I would say. This one, the Dragon, Chaos Dragon, actually, this is one matchup where I do think it does well, but the specific reason I bring Lore of Fire here is for Cascading Fire Cloak. Dragon Ogres have pretty good melee defense for monsters. 40 is decent if you compare to a lot of monstrous infantry, obviously lower than something like Treekin. But they actually, you know, have good weapon damage, 26 bonus versus large, 32 charge, and if I just come over here and compare, you'll see Minotaurs have a better charge, obviously, but much less health. They are slower, they have much less defense, less armor. And of course, Dragon Ogres also had a bit of missile resistance too, so using that Cascading Fire Cloak to buff up their melee defense even more makes them trade very well. And of course, they'll deal heavy damage. I can use Flaming Sword of Ruin as well to get some benefit from Kindle Flame. It's not super efficient, but since Chaos doesn't have any way, it doesn't have like Banner of Eternal Flame or anything, that's the best way of giving a nice little damage spike to them, since they have, you know, the same weapon strength as Minotaurs. Here, I'm going to push up with this group of Hounds. Of course, Hounds count as infantry, so we can just swarm this Ungor Spearman herd, take it out very quickly, and then I want to swarm up and get on these Ungor Raiders. Looks like this pig's charging in now over here. The Chariot's also charging with some pigs, and I don't have a lot to stop this from impacting my line of Marauders. The Dragon Ogres are going to have to do a lot here. Still haven't seen... no, it looks like I have spotted, actually, these Minotaurs with great weapons. Throw a fireball there at the Cygor. These Marauder Horsemen will also be pretty key here, too. We're going to be able to kite away a little bit, and basically what I want to do here with my Dragon Ogres is just mirror wherever Romulan Dog puts his Minotaurs with great weapons. I'm pretty confident, because of my better stats and everything, I'll win a head-to-head fight as long as I don't get charged by the Minotaurs. Since they have a better charge bonus, that will make them trade a lot more cost-effectively, but the Hounds here are able to swarm in. Romulan Dog throws in some Centaurs. Cygor's also nearby, so it should be able to get a Terror Route, perhaps. Nice hit there. Actually kills... doesn't actually kill one of the Minotaurs, but does quite a bit of HP damage. Going to activate my Chaos Chariot as well. Anti-infantry option to start to clean up here. There's not a ton of infantry, but we can also use it to kind of distract and block these Minotaurs. Like here, you can see they issue an attack order on the Chariot. That's going to allow me to kind of side charge in here with these Dragon Ogres. So far, I haven't really committed them too heavily to an engagement, because I want to pick and choose my fight pretty carefully. There's a lot they're going to have to take on here, but we do get a pretty clean engagement on these Minotaurs right here, and I'm going to keep it close so you guys can watch how the Dragon Ogres kind of knock the Minotaurs around. I may not be doing it right now, but on the charge at least. Ooh, nice breath attack, hits a good concentration there. It may have killed one of the Dragon Ogres too, but because Minotaurs can get knocked over, see like that, and the Dragon Ogres cannot, they actually end up trading very nicely, specifically head-to-head here. Of course, the better stats and the fact that I also got the charge on the Minotaurs is also pretty big. Dragon dropping in for some Terror Routes as well, trying to get that rear charge damage, and the Minotaurs are dealt with. I did take some losses, definitely. Flaming Sword of Ruin now going down, giving that little bit of extra magic flaming damage. Kindle Flame won't last too long, so it's not going to be the most impactful, but figured it would be worth it to try and get it on a bunch of units right here. Cygor's taking a bunch of damage right now, and that Cascading Fire Cloak buffs up the Chaos Sorcerer Lord up to 615 weapon strength, 69 melee defense, which is nice. And Cygor also getting wrecked here pretty hard. So Yeah, being able to swarm with the hounds was nice. Romulan Dog then had to kind of commit with his Centaurs here. My Marauder Horsemen mostly just marauding around in the back line, kind of pressuring, chasing routing units, swarming in, rear charging the Centaurs. Definitely taking some losses, but gonna be enough. Chaos Sorcerer Lord also took some damage in here. But the supporting Dragon Ogres and the Dragon together, you know, you'd think like, oh, Dragon Ogres, I'll take Kolek, but I'm kind of joking with the whole dragon thing. But yeah, take a dragon instead of a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, because things, I don't know. Beautiful stuff. We're gonna have to clean up a few kind of tattered units out near the periphery here. Malagor himself didn't really commit anything to try and snipe him. I probably could have tried to snipe him with the Fire Sorcerer Lord after the Minotaurs were committed, but since he was hiding around in the woods back here, he was kind of just out of mind, other than the occasional Vile Tide, which honestly wasn't too worried about. The Minotaurs do come back, and you can see here, again, that Cascading Fire Cloak helps. Malagor's been trying to throw around the Mantle of Garrock, but the Mantle of Garrock is pretty expensive, and you can only cast it on one unit at a time. And Cascading Fire Cloak is also, you can only cast it one unit at a time, but it's a lot cheaper, right? And it has a pretty short cooldown as well, so you can just spam it out there. And worked out pretty well for me here. Well played, Romulan Dog. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that battle. Yeah, Dragon Ogres, in terms of use cases, definitely Beastmen is one, because they do outtrade Minotaurs. You can take them pretty comfortably here. They'll do well against a lot of Beastmen units. Really the biggest thing you'd have to watch out for is Ungor Raiders, which Romulan Dog really only brought one, and I kind of had to build to try and mobile swarm if he did end up having more. Not a super common pick in this matchup as well, so you can get away with these guys quite a bit. The one issue they face against a lot of similar monstrous cavalry, which is what I would class them as, even though they're sort of functionally like monstrous infantry, they sort of straddle the line between those two, right? In terms of practical use and their animations and everything, they are definitely monstrous cavalry. Like, I would class them in a similar category as Demigryph Knights, Necropolis Knights, even I would say Cold One Knights and Cold One Riders to a degree also are monstrous cavalry, but definitely they're directly comparable with Demigryph Knights and also Minotaurs. And Minotaurs also kind of being almost like cavalry, except for one key difference, and that's that they can get knocked down, unlike the other units we're going to be comparing here. And yeah, Minotaurs with Grey Weapon's the best direct comparison. Personally, I like the shields a lot more, just because you see they go up to 45 melee defense. They do lose the bonus versus large, but that extra, even 5 melee defense over a unit that's significantly more expensive, and they still have better melee attack. Yeah, again, slightly slower, but just barely. I mean, just barely slower. Less leadership, too. And armor differential starts to close. More importantly, you have a missile block chance, which for the time being is unique, assuming Ogres have some shielded monstrous infantry units that will be coming in Game 3. But, yeah, shielded monstrous infantry, only the Beastmen have it right now, so that is huge and makes them usable against certain factions, I would say, more so than Dragon Ogres. This 25% missile resistance from Dragon Ogres is okay, but it's not amazing. The biggest thing you'll notice is that they have the most HP. They have 1,200 more HP, so about 100 more HP per model over the Minotaurs, right? And if we take a look in comparison to Demigryph Knights, you'll see they do have half the unit models, literally half the unit models, but they do pretty much twice the weapon damage. Bonus versus large is very similar. Demigryph Knights do have a better charge, but again, way more HP, even though less models on the Dragon Ogres. So although they don't have healing, and they're one of the few units in this class, besides Minotaurs, that doesn't have any kind of healing, they do have the biggest HP pool, though, you'll see. Demigryph Knights, pretty comparable, less melee defense, actually, but better charge, better speed, and actually less leadership, but of course 125 armor. Comparing them to the shielded variant of Demigryph Knights, Of course, you get the missile block chance, which is pretty key. The charge bonus is much higher. You do have, again, no anti-large bonus, but still pretty decent weapon strength. Yeah, even less melee defense, and that's one of the biggest things about Dragon Ogres, is their melee defense is actually pretty good for monstrous infantry slash cavalry. They compare pretty favorably to Demigryph Knights. Obviously, they don't have the prayer buffs, which is a big thing, and the Chaos support abilities are very lacking right now. Like, really, you only rely on your magic, and maybe you have, like, standard die. There's not a lot else in terms of support abilities from Chaos. So, basically, with most Chaos units, it's kind of just like what you see here is what you get. And what you see here is actually pretty good. I was going to quickly also compare them to Tomb Kings, then maybe talk about some use cases. Necropolis Knights with halberds, not a unit that I think is very good, but they do cause poison. You can see, again, lower melee defense. They're a little bit faster. Sorry. Yeah, a little bit faster. And leadership, they're undead, so basically you can count this as unbreakable, especially something this high of leadership, like 60 leadership. Once you get to like 70 plus, it's almost impossible to disintegrate the unit. Even a unit that has like 60 leadership here will be very, very hard to make disintegrate. Again, though, way less HP, and Tomb Kings do have some healing, not the kind of direct healing you would have with, say, Lore of Life, but they can heal somewhat. And only 18 unit models, so the Necropolis Knights' stopping power is definitely lacking in comparison to the Dragon Ogres, and Demigryph Knights as well. But yeah, in terms of use cases, I would think actually Tomb Kings might be a decent one. They will outrun and be able to catch Ushabti Greatbows relatively quickly. Because they have so much HP, they can maybe take a few shots as well on the approach without losing models, like many other monstrous infantry. They'll trade pretty well with most constructs as well. They do have decent enough melee defense, but you definitely need, like, against something like the Hyro Titan with its 56 attack, you would definitely need some buffs. Something like Cameroon War Sphinx. War Sphinx doesn't actually have that great of stats, so you could probably do quite well there. And again, against any kind of Ushabtis, Scorpions, stuff like that. Of course, Beastmen as well. Really heavy shooting factions like Dwarfs and Vampire Coast. Probably not. The Empire is an interesting one. It's a pretty interesting matchup in general, actually. They do trade great against all Empire Cav. They're nice for if you have a Ground Lord, and you probably shouldn't go with an Air Lord there anyway, but to try and protect from somebody like Carl. They do get shredded by Faith Demis, though, like with the prayer buffs and other buffs, better support abilities the Empire has access to. They will outtrade Dragon Ogres, but if you get the good engagement, you can do quite well there. And yeah, I like them quite a bit in this matchup. I haven't played this matchup in a long time from the Chaos side, I'm not going to lie, but used to use these guys all the time. They might be decent against Bretonnia as well, trying to take out enemy cavalry. Generally, the heavy cavalry matchups, I would say, are going to be probably the best, plus, like, Beastmen. I don't know. You guys let me know. Try them out in a few different matchups, and let me know your results. They're a unit, I would say, again, maybe Wood Elves, like the heavy shooting factions, I would say are a no-go. And given their low number, you definitely want to have lots of mobile supporting units, which is why in that build I had like a lot of Hounds and Marauder Horsemen to kind of, if Romulan Dog had gone very, kind of wide and missile-centric Chaffee, then I had some support to help with that. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.